Who here likes tag the most?
Me!
You guys like playing tag?
Don't
You guys
even
like playing?
do that on Christmas, dude.
Why not?
Cause it's cold. It's cold outside.
It's too cold for tag?
You could just go outside and play snowball.
Do you guys ever play tag around your Christmas tree?
I know.
You do? Why?
You'll trip over the presents. Doing that.
Are you worried you're gonna break the Christmas tree?
You'll put a train around the Christmas tree.
You put a train around the Christmas tree and you can't play tag around the train.
No, and you're in the presents.
Well, what would happen if the Christmas tree fell over?
It'll fall on you.
It would fall on you, okay?
I would just, since there's a part where I can't get, I just go. You find the pickle. Don't you find the pickle?
You would find a pickle?
Remember, you find the pickle and then you get a prize?
If you find the pickle when the Christmas tree falls over, you find a pickle and then you get a prize.
What if you have a heart shaped behind the Christmas tree and it falls down and then you see it?
So the Christmas tree falls down and we've hidden a heart behind it. We find the heart and then we get the prize, and the prize is a pickle. No, okay.
It's the chocolate inside of the heart.
Okay, we got a chocolate heart. All right, I like this. I like candy.
What if you sneak behind it and then you find a lollipop that's made out of Santa chocolate?
A lollipop made out of Santa's chocolate.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good lollipop. Or Oreos. I like that too.
Chocolate is delicious.
What are we doing next? Anybody know what we're doing next? When I was growing up, my mother would buy me a new Christmas ornament every year to go on the tree. The idea was that it always symbolized what was happening in my life at the time. Here's one for my very first Christmas. Here's the one I got when I learned how to drive. And here's from the year I graduated high school and went off to college. Each of the ornaments captured that year and symbolized adding another year's worth of memories to the Christmas tree. But the tree was the same, it's just that every year new stories were added on top of it, which added to the beautiful mosaic that was Christmas in the Calaccia household. That makes for an excellent metaphor for what we're talking about today. At Christmas, we have this amazing, great story that we call the gospel coming into focus. The story of humans being reconciled to God through the person of Jesus. It's a story that's been told for a long, long time. In fact, can I tell you something of a secret? When I was a kid, Christmas time was my least favorite time to go to church. Why? The stories were always the same, and I got a little bored. Now, as an adult, I look on that differently. I see the importance of a yearly reminder of the most important, most central story that forever cut history into BC and AD, and forever allowed us to find salvation from sin. That gospel story is like the Christmas tree, strong, stable, and true. It's the same year after year, generation after generation. That gospel story is the same one that Paul preached in Athens. It's the same one that the church fathers were willing to die for, and the same one that led you to be watching this video today. And what's interesting is that when we look at the gospel story through the lens of Paul, or the Christians who came before us, or even stories from our own lives, it makes it seem more real, more beautiful. See, our stories, our testimonies, are the ornaments on the tree of Christ. Just like how my mom would buy me an ornament to adorn our tree that symbolized my life at the time, so too our testimonies adorn the gospel of Jesus. The times we prayed and God came through with a miracle in the hospital. Or the stories where we struggled in a dark season of life, or the stories we found of joy in close relationships. The highs and lows tell the stories of what the gospel actually means when lived out, and has the potential to inspire others to follow suit. My bet is that depending on when you're watching this, you've spent a significant amount of time shopping in the last few weeks. And if you're anything like me, about 99% of your shopping was done on Amazon. Now, Amazon's great. It's got everything, and the shipping is just so fast these days. But sometimes there's almost too many options. I was buying a computer monitor for myself a couple months ago, and listen, I know a fair amount about computers, but I had no idea how to pick from the 25 plus choices that were all the same price. So what did I do? Well, I did the same thing you do in that situation. I scrolled down and looked at the reviews. If it had 3 or less stars, instantly discarded it, no interest. If it had 5 stars, I assumed it was fake. Any product that claims to be perfect has to be lying, right? Maybe that's just me. I went straight for the one that was 4.5 stars. That's the one I bought. The reviews matter. Our lives, our stories are the reviews of the gospel of Christ. We are what people look at when making the decision, do I want to believe in this Jesus thing or not? And that's a big responsibility and a tall order. On Sunday, we reference this verse. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify concerning that light, so that through him all might believe. He himself was not the light. He came only as a witness to the light. That was John the Baptist's job. He was an ornament illustrating the gospel of Jesus. There's another great verse that says it this way: we are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making his appeal through us. When you look at a Christmas tree in someone's living room and think, man, that is a beautiful tree, it's probably due, in some part, to the tree itself and the shape of its branches, but if I had to guess, I would say the vast majority is because of the ornaments and the beauty they add. So too, the gospel story, it's the best tree of all. But people often come to it not because of the tree itself, but because they saw our lives and said, I want some of what they're having. Now, I want to be very careful as I'm talking about this, because here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that everything has to be perfect and shiny all the time. That's where my Christmas tree illustration breaks down a little. It's often in the dark, hard moments where we do our most growing and illustrate the gospel best. Take a look at Job. He gets an entire book of the Bible just about his story. And why? Because he suffered. And God wanted us, the readers of the Bible, to know that life is like that, even when we're walking with him. Or look at Daniel. The most famous Bible story about him is when he gets thrown in a lion's den. Or John the Baptist, whose story ends by him being executed by Herod. Listen, the Christian life isn't easy. It's not always pretty. That's actually my point. The very stories, the very ornaments that God chose to include in the Bible are some of the darkest, because he looked at those stories and said, put those in the book. People need to know there are days like that I am your God in the good times and bad, and I don't leave, even when humans do. My point is that as we walk through life, whether it's nice and shiny or dark and depressing, the things that we do, the way we treat people, and how we talk about God are the reviews people consider when thinking about Jesus. If you looked at the reviews before you bought a Christmas present this year, how much more are people going to look at our lives before deciding where to put their souls? So this Christmas, let's take a second and reflect on our lives and what we can do to illustrate Jesus well to the people around us. Merry Christmas.